Gloria from Heart of the City, San Diego, and the Gloria Medrano podcast. And I'm live. um, and I'm live today. I'm just trying to plug in my mic. I forgot to plug it in. Let's see. Okay. We're good. And I'm just tuning in right now on, what time is it? 2:30 p.m. And I have a day off, so I'm not at work. So anyway, I've been doing a series of lessons that have to do with emotional healing. And in this series of lessons, we are on the topic of taking a deeper look. So the next lesson is going to be myself, the child. So we're going to take a look at the child within us. And that is going to be tough. So it does get tough for some of us. And it can bring up, past memories and things like that. And triggers, I don't like to use that word triggers, but when I say triggers, I mean it's going to bring up memories that could possibly bring hurt to you, And what we want to do is we're not going to go there deeply. We're going to go there lightly. And we're just going to take a look a little bit at some of the belief systems that you may have brought with you. When you were a child, you thought like a child, but now you're grown, and we need to know what that grown-up thinking is like, right? So what I want to do is take you a little bit there. And the scripture that we're going to use for that next couple of lessons, hi, I see you there, is 1 Corinthians 13:11. So 1 Corinthians 13:11 says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man or woman, I put childish ways behind me, okay? But sometimes we don't even know what childish ways means. What is that? So we're going to look at that, okay? So, we all have the tendency to have childish behavior. So, some people hide it better than others. But, there's always this tendency to, act in a certain way, react in certain ways, and things like that. Some people just totally shut you out, and that's it. You're just shut out. Some people just gaslight you, to like the highest level, and that's just ignorant and it's lazy. And then some people respond like, in a frustrated way. But how, in any way that you respond, most people are going to say that is childish. So it has to do with a lot of things. What are my glasses doing right now? Okay. So we want to take a look at that, right? And try to create awareness. Basically, it's just creating awareness. And let's see if I can give you some more little hints on what we're going to do next. We're gonna do some affirmations because a lot of times when we start talking about the childish part of our lives, it makes us really uncomfortable. So we have to remind ourselves that we're grown. And so we do affirmations, things that we do that are good quality things, in our life. And we all do really good things, I do amazing things in this world, right? I do things that no one else would do. Some people would not do. A lot of people would not do what I do. And there, but on another note, there are some things where I have a weakness in, some things where, some things scare me really badly. Like I'll go do some really dangerous stuff and I'm good, right? Because I'm in fight mode. I'm in the highest level of faith mode. It feels real good, so I'm like, my endorphins are going like at the highest level. My adrenaline's going, so I'm in my element. I'm in my place where I'm in the zone, but there's some things that are tiny little things to some people, like, dealing with, not all conflict, but dealing with certain type of conflict that, where I'm being accused or gaslighting is involved and things like that. Or that I feel like I can't defend myself because any way that I try to defend myself, there's no reasoning. No one is reasonable. And so you can't reason it out. So there's no way of fighting against it. So you just have to kind of go with the flow and do your best, really. So I'm not good in those situations at all. So, and I don't think really anyone is, unless you're like a passive aggressive, compliant kind of a person. And there's only few of those kind of people. And so most people are really uncomfortable with that. It's toxic. So, so we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. We're all different in different ways, So what I might see as something really scary, might be something really tiny to you, and what I might see as something that isn't scary at all might be humongous to you. You might be like, I will never do that ever, so that's a thing right there. So I am here. I'm asking you if you want prayer. You might be going through some things in your life. You might need some prayer. You might feel frustrated. You might feel like, you can't, your hands are tied, like you can't, there's nothing you can do. So, you might, you get people that do the lazy thing, sometimes, they'll do the lazy thing where they'll say, if you don't like it, then leave. And it's really lazy. It's a really lazy thing to do. And there's no that just tells you the kind of person that is. So, you just have to remember that they are that kind of a person. Hey, El Padrino, what is up? El Padrino says, Hola, Gloria, te ves hermosa. Saludos y saludos to you as well, El Padrino. Trying to practice a little bit of my Spanish. That's really bad. So I pray for you all. This is just a little quick prayer. I'm praying for you all. I love you guys. Bringing some encouragement your way. I want you guys to know that many of us are come on here, and we're a lot of you when you see me go live, I do these surprise lives, and you guys will come to see what is she saying today, but a lot of that is because you're looking for some encouragement, you're looking for some validation and some prayer and things like that, and I like to cultivate, connectivity and community. So, that's what I do all the time. I create connectivity and community. So, I am not the one that says, if you don't like it, then leave. I'm the one that says, how can we resolve it? That's me, okay? I don't just give a second chance. I want people to know what that all entails, what is actually happening. Sometimes when you're given a second chance, you're not clear. You don't even know half the time, I don't even know what I did, So it has to be kind of clear. You have to share with people exactly what's going on, right? And especially if you're married or in dealing with church hurt and issues. There's a lot of people that come to church, and they're dealing with a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but we're all there together for a main purpose, and that is to worship the Lord and be in community with each other and be friends with each other, right? And encourage one another. Sometimes we forget the encourage one another part or to love one another. And sometimes we do get into issues with each other too, right? For instance, I had a daughter when she was just little. She was only like a little teeny tiny, I think she was 2 years old at the time. And her Sunday school teacher was very just a very straight, pure, very strict, very legalistic kind of a person. And my daughter pinched her on her butt. My little 2-year-old daughter, she pinched the teacher on her butt, on her bottom. And the teacher was so mad and so offended. It was so offended. If it was an adult who did that to her. And so she comes to me and she's all mad. She's all huffy and puffy. And she says, your daughter was inappropriate. And she pinched me on the bottom. And I was like, I wanted to laugh. I was trying to hold in my laugh so hard, and try not to offend her, but I burst out laughing. I was like, I know which daughter that is. And and she said, I'm not going to say what daughter that is, but for those of you who know my children, but she was very angry at me, and I just was like, she's only 2. She's only 2. And and so I explained to my daughter, in front of the teacher doesn't want you to do that. And so my daughter goes, back to her again. And I was like, oh my gosh. So how do I deal with this, right? So every day I would take her, every Sunday to the Sunday school and drop her off with the same teacher. And I would be freaked out, this teacher is going to get mad because this child is not going to stop doing that. So sure enough, when the teacher would turn around, my daughter would pinch her again. And finally I had to like, say, look, you know, it's not, she's only 2. How can you reason with a 2-year-old? Like, she doesn't, she's only like, she's playing, she's not like, being mean to you or offend or like, trying to be on purpose rude to you, so like, and it just became this weird cycle of this teacher coming after me again and again and again. It was one thing, and then it was another thing, and she says, you're the same child. She's stuttering, and I think she needs to go to stuttering school. And I'm like, you are not a professional evaluator, like, to tell me that, right? So I'm like, oh, well, we will take care of that, when we have a professional, like, explain that to me. And she's like, well, I know because I already raised kids and stuff. So like, you will have people, who have all these different, ideas and issues and things that they come with. And so how to navigate that is really, really tricky. So, the best thing to do is, to to kind of, some things you have to pick your fights with, some things are not worth fighting because there's no reasoning. Like with this lady, there was no reasoning at all. And she expected me to have a reasoning conversation with my 2-year-old. And so it was just impossible. So, you just have to kind of, pick and choose your fights on that one. And so, like, and in order to keep the peace, sometimes you just have to, do what you got to do, which was, I just would take my child to Sunday school, and, if she like was, on purpose misbehaving, I would need to know that, and we would have to evaluate that as a grown up. But like, even that's hard. So it is what it is, and you just try to, go with the flow. Oh, thank you. I do have children. Oh, thank you for asking people to subscribe to my content. I really appreciate that. I do have 3 adult children. They're all grown up, and they all lead professional lives, very professional lives, and some are out. They're all over the states, and they all grew up in England and got educated in England and things like that. And so even with that, there's a mixed culture. So like, there's big cultural differences when you're dealing with, a lot of different people. In England, they tend to be able to deal with different cultures. In America, dealing with different cultures is a little bit really strange. It's very different, very, very, very different. They're not as well informed. So that's hard to navigate that one. Good evening from South Africa. Wow, all the way from South Africa. What is up, South Africa? My kids, yes, they call me all the time. Call your mama. We have to tell everyone, make sure you call your mom, okay? If you're a grown-up out there, make sure you call your mom. Call her, okay? So yeah, God is good. And, I just want to come in and, say hi to you guys and just be encouraging. And, this is unscripted. And yes, call your mom. So somebody is saying, Mum, M-U-M. So where are you from then? Are you from Europe? Any part of England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Australia? Okay, that's why you say mom. That's cool. All the way from Australia. Wow, that's cool. All right. And South Africa. Must be that time of day. That's so cool. Hey, Jason, what's up? John V with the hand. Connor, what's up, Connor? Okay. Tuesday, 7:53 a.m. Oh man, you guys are like, you're a whole different other day. It's Monday at, what time is it right now? At 2:56. Eating a chicken breakfast. Yummy. I had chicken teriyaki with rice last night. And I'm going to have chicken teriyaki tacos in just a minute right now. And then I'm going to head over to the San Diego Zoo because it's my day off from work. And just chill and practice my photography because I love photography. Those are some of my hobbies, because I can't do my former hobbies because I'm not young anymore. So, formerly I was, in competitive boxing and motocross, a former motocross athlete. So the only thing left over from that is jump roping. Jump roping, and I might ride a street bike here and there, and somebody's kid's dirt bike I might jump on. But other than that, I don't do all my tricks and all that anymore. Nope. I do not want to get hurt and break a hip. I'm not that old, but I'm just kidding. But for reals though, I don't want to break a hip. Not when I'm older. So, when I was a kid, yeah, probably have some fractures in there that I don't even know about. Yeah, pretty sure. My son thinks like, what the heck? They never knew. So my son was 16 when he seen me ride some kid's motorcycle off-roading. We went off-roading on a visit. I used to live in London. Came back to San Diego, and some kids had dirt bikes, off-road dirt bikes, and took us out to the desert here, the local desert here in San Diego. And we went to a place called Superstition, and no one ever seen me ride in this group. No one ever knew. They didn't even know. So I had stopped all that and never picked it up again. Thought that's what Jesus wanted me to do. Because back in the days, in the 80s, when you were a Christian, you kind of gave up everything and your life was like non-existent in the world. And so I saw them, and I asked this kid, hey, let me ride your motorcycle. And he's like, no, this is the one I race with. It's kind of like got way too much power. Why don't you ride that little one right there? And it was like a little 90. And I was like, can I just ride, I'll just go real slow, I told him. And he gave me his helmet, and I had to put this awful, sweaty, yucky sand field helmet on my head. And I was like, no, this is awful. And so I did it, just like gritted my teeth and did it. And so I jumped on the bike and practiced a little bit. And this was a board out. I want to say it was like a 450 or something. This was a quad, and it was a racing quad 450, like really powerful bike, little quad. And I actually had never ridden a quad before. That was the first time I had ever ridden a quad. And so, it was on four wheels. We thought, okay, this is okay. And so I just went slow around, and it had a clutch and everything, and with a twist handle, twist throttle. And so there was a track nearby that somebody, obviously people were out, created this berm track. And I was like, oh, I'm real familiar with that. And so I kind of was like, do I still got it? And I was like, Lord, so I prayed, Jesus, just let me do this in front of my kids one more time. And so I hit the track, and it just came back natural without thinking about it. And I have pictures of me hitting the track, kicking the sand, and I hit a bump like just right on the front, and I was able to kick it up in a wheelie. And I was like the wheelie queen back in the day. But and I know how to work the brakes for the wheelie. And so I kicked it up in a wheelie, and that's when my son fell on the floor. He was like, oh, like, is that my mom? And all the guys ran over there, and everybody was like this big old circle running around looking. And the guy's friend who owns the bike, his friend ran over there to him and said, dude, she can ride way better than you. And I was cracking up, and it was just so funny. So yeah. Oh, sorry. So I'm talking about riding a motorcycle dirt bike. So people are asking me, what the heck is kicksand? So when you're on the motorcycle, you can push. You're on a berm. The berms look like this, right? So they're like sideways, and you're riding it around, and you can kick the sand up over the side thing that they've created, and like it's a track. And so it's fun to kick the sand, and just cause somebody to get dusted or whatever. And how can I explain it to somebody from overseas? but yeah, that's basically it. You're just like spreading dirt all over the place on people with your motor and your wheels. It's like spinning out, and stuff. It's not a song. So that was me back in the day. More recently that happened, and then my daughters were all mad, and they said, why didn't you ever teach us that? And I was like, do you want to even, have you seen Mama's like scars? They're really bad, like really big gashing wounds. they're not fun, and they don't look cute either. And at the level that I was riding, I'm surprised I'm still alive. There was times when I was on the track and I, crashed, and I was like upside down, and, people coming behind me fast, and trying to miss me. And, And back in the day when I didn't wear, people didn't wear helmets back in the days when I was on the track. Probably should have, but, you know, and what my youngest daughter grew up, and what was the first thing she did? She married a stunt rider and learned how to ride a super fast street bike. I think she had, it was a Kawasaki or something she had. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot look. I cannot look at all. So, you know, I wasn't even trying to teach my kids how to do that. And my son, the same thing, you know, came home, and him and the boys in England got together, and they had this fixer-upper, you know, little dirt bike, and I think it was a 125 or something like that. I don't even know what brand it was, but that summer, the kids were all out in the back, and it just kept them entertained fixing it. And one of the dads would come to my house in my backyard, like they wouldn't come, you know, they would just walk to the backyard where the kids were all at, where his son was and stuff, and be working back there in the shed with the bike. And and then one day the bike got started, and they were able to they got it running. This dad got it running, and with the kids helping, and lo and behold, they were out there riding the bike, because we had, where I lived in England, there was we had a massive back garden, and then beyond the garden was a abandoned lot of, like a park. It was like an abandoned lot of grass. You know, people would play soccer, football, you know, kind of stuff like that. But mainly it was wild horses and people walking their dogs. And so they went back there and rode, you know, were able to ride the bikes and stuff, the dirt bikes. And it was just a fun, weird summer. Eventually the dirt bike got stolen. We knew who stole it. Then we got it back. And it was just a big old thing. But yeah, funny stuff. So somebody's saying that Terminator. So my son, he used to call me Sarah Connor, like you're a Sarah Connor mom. It's not a compliment. You know, because like I was so like I don't want to say it here because you guys probably won't understand, but I was very, if I was out doing all of this stuff, riding motorcycles and things as, you know, as a kid, and, you know, and I have massive wounds, and, you know, I rode to the highest level, and I was a, you know, competitive boxer at one point. So that tells you that I have been in some things, okay? I was very protective, okay? Very protective in my neighborhood. And I have been in situations that were, you know, in my neighborhood, very, very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Like, I can't even say the words dangerous. Like, very one day I'll have to share the fullness of that. But, you know, even my kids never knew all of those things took place. So when I say Sarah Connor, because he now knows, I had to share the whole story with him because he's the oldest. I said, Mama was, you know, got into, there was some real dangerous stuff, you know, not because of my doing, but because of me living in an environment and having to have to protect myself from, you know, different things. So I'm not very good with being bullied at all. Like, I start shaking, not because I'm scared, but because my adrenaline starts going to like the highest level. And back in the day, I had to defend myself to the highest level. So that gives me PTSD when somebody tries to come at me and bully me or my kids. So that's why my son calls me Sarah Connor Mom, because, I'm very protective like that. When it clicks in, it clicks in. And most moms are like that, most moms are like that. That's not just a me thing. It's a mom thing. But some moms, have had it where, they come from a different world, and like me, and thank God that my dad kept us out of trouble because of the dirt bikes and all of the things that he kept us involved in, kept us busy, and that kept us out of trouble, like to the highest level. So thank you to my dad who was able to do that, because who knows where I'd be. Probably have tattoos on my face and all kinds of stuff. But I was always very shy and very calm and very quiet. That was me. So I wasn't aggressive, but I was protective. And no one knew any of the things, like no one knew that I knew how to ride a dirt bike and things like that, because I was very feminine, very quiet, very soft-spoken, and things like that. And then one day, when I was going to get ready to graduate junior high school, someone dared me. Don't dare me. Don't ever dare me. But it was somebody, my friend, my best friend, or someone dared me to drive my motorcycle through the, it might have been my cousin who was always daring us to do stuff, dared me to drive my dirt bike through the school. So I did. I put on a helmet and rode the dirt. I lived across the street from my junior high school, and rode the dirt bike through O'Farrell Junior High School. So if you are from San Diego, and this was 1979, I think it was, O'Farrell Junior High School, and that person who rode their motorcycle during school, that was me. Later on, people found out, but none of the teachers knew that it was me or anything like that. And I went through, got out, and came back home really quickly. I went the other way around to my home. I didn't go like the obvious way, directly. So I went around so that in case anyone's seen where I was going, they didn't see where I lived. But people still talk about that. I don't even know these people anymore. I used to show up in the neighborhood, and people would ask me, "That was you who rode through O'Farrell Junior High School. That was you. I know that was you." And I would just smile. And then the other thing that they ask me is, "Do you still have that crocodile underneath your house?" Because we used to say, like, we held this to like it was for real, that there was a crocodile, because that's where we would keep our bikes, our dirt bikes and stuff. So we didn't want them to get stolen. And so we would tell people, about, we don't even go under there because there's a crocodile under there, right? And so one day somebody tried to go, they were trying to steal our motorcycles, and they came face to face with the crocodile. So, they were so terrified. And there was a guy, and he stopped me on the streets one day, and he was like, "Yo, man," he goes, "You still got that crocodile under your house?" I was like, "How do you know that?" Like, yo, man, we were gonna try and take your bike, like when we were kids, but I was scared. And I started cracking up. I go, yeah, he's still there. Like he was gonna still, that thing was still gonna be alive all those years, What it was a blow up crocodile. It was a floaty, like, that floats in a swimming pool that our neighbor had given us, who had a pool up the hill, and she used to let us go swimming all summer long. Well, she had this thing that was like a floaty thing, and my dad propped it so that it looked, so that when people would go in, it was dark under there with spiders and everything, that they wouldn't go in, because that you would see this mouth and this crocodile, and it would scare people away, like really scare people away. And so that's what that was all about. But they still ask me that. So, hi, Show Wiley. Sarah Connor. Yeah. So yeah, all right. Let me let you guys go. Enough of talking about my stories. People like to hear the stories, but I never know like when to stop. You guys are probably done hearing it. But people tell me, keep going. And so I've gotten used to sharing the story. And it's fun talking about it now that my kids know, my history. They really didn't know. Like, they didn't know any of those things. It was, yeah. Thank you. Walnut, a pleasure. So, yeah, thanks. Well, he says, oh, no, I love your stories. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hoping to catch you live again, ma'am. Yeah, you too. Hoping to see you guys next time. I'm here every Sunday at 8 p.m., but it might be because I just tuned in at like 2:45-ish, which catches people around the world better. But my 8 p.m. probably you'll catch it on the replay, because it'll be a way different time zone. I don't even know what it is, but yeah, I'll let you guys go for now. I love you guys, and thanks for being here. It's always fun chatting with you guys like this. I love to cultivate community. So that's what we like. Yes, 8 p.m. Pacific time. All right, guys. I love you. Bye. See ya.